Naturopathy is a system of healing practice that's about 100 years old and is based primarily on the principle of using natural or non-invasive remedies in order to enhance the body's ability to heal itself. It really is a philosophical or philosophy-based medical practice. It's overtly not a science-based practice. Naturopath is not a protected title in the UK. Unlike doctors, dentists, nurses, pharmacists, solicitors, barristers, architects, social workers and a fair few other professions, where calling yourself one without actually meeting the academic and professional requirements is against the law, there's literally nothing stopping you from calling yourself a naturopath, or a fair few other alternative medical pseudo-professions like nutritionist. So in order to become a naturopath in the UK, you just call yourself one. That's it.
Really? I'm confused.
Until recently, most states in the US did not recognize naturopathy as a licensed, recognized medical profession. Worryingly, due to increasing interest caused by widespread misinformation and intense lobbying by those who seek to profit from the industry, the practice is gaining recognition in an increasing number of states. However, naturopathy has not gained widespread acceptance within the mainstream medical profession because of its use and endorsement of a host of unscientific modalities.
Enough of this! Tell me what's happening.
So what exactly is naturopathy and what are these unscientific modalities? Naturopaths believe that the body heals itself if it's kept in a fully natural environment. They also believe we're a combination of a natural body, a soul and a non-physical mind. They love to use bullshit words like balance, energy and harmony to describe these nonsensical beliefs. Naturopathy is rooted in vitalism. Vitalism is the belief that we possess a kind of energy or force that gives us life.
You're not buying any of this either, are you?
Vitalism was a viable scientific notion 150 or so years ago, but it's gone the way of ether and other unnecessary hypotheses within science. There essentially was nothing for the vitalistic force to do once we figured out how biology essentially works. So it lingers on only in these philosophy-based notions like naturopathy. Modern-day naturopathy can be traced back to Father Sebastian Kneip from Germany, who opened a water cure center after becoming convinced that a fellow student had cured themselves of tuberculosis by bathing in the Danube River. Another person who was responsible for introducing naturopathy to the United States was Benedict Lust, who took Kneip's ideas, brought them to the United States and opened his own water cure institute in New York City. He took the term naturopathy in 1902 and combined it with the use of massage, herbs, homeopathy, spinal manipulations and various other types of occult healing. Once he had accumulated all this bullshit into one big steaming pile, he eventually opened the American Institute of Naturopathy. And that's how naturopathy was born. One common tactic used by naturopaths is to claim that their methods can be used to boost the immune system. They assume that many, if not all diseases are caused by impaired immune responses. The fact is, many diseases, cancer among them, can ravage the body even with completely uncompromised immune systems. Add to that the absence of any scientific evidence or prior plausibility that naturopathic treatments can enhance immune response and you have, at best, wishful thinking and at worst scam artists.
Damn, man. Some cold, brutal shit right there.
As of this recording, over 20 states and the District of Columbia have licensing laws for naturopathic doctors. In these states, naturopathic doctors are required to graduate from a 4-year residential naturopathic medical school and pass extensive postdoctoral board examinations, which they call the NPLEX, in order to receive a license. Practitioners also have to fulfill state-mandated, continuing education requirements. In the UK, there are a number of bodies that claim to regulate naturopaths, and to be registered with them, you need to complete a part-time, non-accredited course from a naturopathic college that proudly notes on its course description page, no science background required, which seems like a thing you'd probably want from people who claim to be medical professionals. At the end of said course, you get a diploma, not a degree. They aren't legally allowed to hand out degrees, because they aren't an actual university or recognized institution of higher education. Basically, you can give money to a bullshit college so they give you a bullshit diploma that is recognized by a bullshit fake regulator so you can practice a bullshit pseudo-profession. You can't actually prescribe any medicines or do anything like a doctor would because you aren't actually a doctor, because doctors have to have actual degrees and learn real science and medical skills. Another problem with the whole licensure issue is, as Edzard Ernst quite eloquently stated, even the most meticulous regulation of nonsense must still result in nonsense. The problem is that in order to acquire licensure, naturopaths are not required to prove that anything they do is scientific, or that they have an appropriate evidence base for their treatments, or even that they adhere to any ethical standards. Essentially, they have to prove only that they are internally organized, that they track their members, that they make them take exams, and that their paperwork is in order. Basically, it's just logistics. Nothing actually asks the question, is the practice ethical and scientifically legitimate? Even the bodies that claim to require you to pass exams have been criticized for adjusting the scores, so that all of the naturopaths who take the exams pass. So essentially the exams are worthless because they are impossible to fail. Naturopaths will often make the claim that licensure is necessary in order to prevent bad naturopaths from practicing. They want to make sure that only the legitimate naturopaths can practice. Like that's somehow going to protect the public. Unfortunately, there's no difference between a good naturopath and bad naturopath, as there's no scientific base to anything they do. They will frequently use practices that are not evidence or science-based. So, without a science-based standard of care, why bother? That is really just a political ploy they use in order to get licensure and to really inhibit competition. It's just one body of naturopaths trying to insulate themselves from competition, from other practitioners, but it is in no way protecting the public from unscientific or substandard care. So at the end of the day, a naturopath is just a jack of all trades of quackery, emptying people's pockets in any way they can, from food allergy tests, to homeopathic remedies, to acupuncture. Some even claim to issue drug prescriptions for fucking vitamins. Worse still, some even recommend minor surgeries. Naturopathic practices are really just a loose collection of anything that's been discarded by science-based medicine, or that is either disproven or is implausible and hasn't been studied. There isn't any cohesive or coherent theme to the different modalities that they use. They try to whitewash everything by saying it's all natural, or it's all supporting the body's own self-healing. So when you properly examine the range of services sold by naturopaths, there's no coherent body of knowledge on which they're based. They are not based in reality. The only consistent theme in their treatments is that they're not legitimate scientific practices. They're pretty much all a bunch of bullshit, elaborate cons, delivered by unqualified, anti-science cult members, who either believe their own nonsense, or are deliberately trying to relieve people of their money using bullshit words and an elaborate con.
As long as the con works, and we all know a con doesn't work without the confidence.